Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen with a summary of the Calling All Devs frequently asked questions, but also some extra information from BritisonCon and Spectrum that was newsworthy. AI roles and cargo. So Star Citizen Alpha 3.5 to 3.6, so between March and June of 2019, is the estimate to have AI traders in game. This is going to actually incorporate quite a lot of stuff. They are currently working on getting more diversity into combat though, so that each ship has its own unique flight characteristics from how the AI will fly them, based on whether they're fighters or particular types of fighter, or they're larger ships like Constellations or whatever. But also, each NPC, they want to have a bit unique in the way that they will fly even within each of those groups. So eventually not every Hornet pilot will be the same. They are also working on the AI being able to travel the verse, so land on planets, get stations, quantum linking jump together, and then for them it's not actually that much work to get them trading and with cargo and being able to be lootable as well. So you're going to be able to blow up these cargo trains and these individual NPC ships like you would a player ship, be able to board them, all that sort of stuff as well, to steal their cargo. They are going to be loot pinatas. Some of these bits might not be obvious on the roadmap as they're parts of other systems, or they haven't been slotted in yet, but eventually expect to see service beacons being used by NPCs to say, I'm a cargo ship, I'm traveling here, please be my escort, and that sort of stuff too. Lockers and weapons racks. These will work alongside the Mobiglass apps. So you're going to be able to grab and wear individual items that you have stored on your ship and in these weapon racks and stuff. But you're also going to be able to grab your predefined loadouts from there as well. It's planned for much later down the line for that functionality, but it is planned. Races and scramble. So they had races planned and set up for the moons in the persistent universe earlier, even in 3.0. But the constant moving forward with the procedural tech and other systems means it literally breaks the races they build, with asteroids or canyons entirely moving or changing or no longer existing. They are, however, working on scramble races for the not too distant future, where you will need to pick a start location. You go, we're going to start here, and that can be anywhere in the verse, whether it be space or ground. Everyone will gather around you that wants to participate in the race. It's a death race that basically randomly generates waypoints and the course. So getting to the checkpoints gives you points. The player with the most points after a certain amount of time, or once you hit a certain amount of points, is the winner, basically. There is going to be some balance as they want a mix of ships and vehicles to be able to compete. There will be combat, checkpoints, and the course might actually go back over itself and through the other races constantly. So you're going to constantly be passing each other, even if you're the fastest ship. And the idea is that slower, more armoured ships or more armed ships were to compete because they'll be able to shoot the other players and you're constantly passing over each other. And once that ship that's really fast, that's got that first checkpoint, has got away, they'll grab that checkpoint, but then that disappears for everyone, that checkpoint, and the new one spawns, which would be potentially over the opposite side of where they started, so they'll have to keep on crossing over each other. It's very Grand Theft Auto in space, it sounds. There's obviously lots of stuff they could do, like I like the idea of, yeah, maybe a checkpoint disappearing potentially once a player's got there, but maybe after a few seconds, so that some other players can get to that checkpoint. Maybe it doesn't just disappear for the first person. Maybe it's worth getting points if you kill someone, or because it will probably be a persistent universe only races, maybe it's worth not having points when you kill people, but you know, you're more likely to win because you knocked that ship out of the race. Currently in the dev branch, they have all of this working for just players on planets and moons, but in space, both AI and players can join those races. And you can have that in like locations around the asteroid field around Yellow, for example. Eventually, they will be looking to have devs doing dedicated work on Arena Commander and Arena Commander races, but they currently have other priorities, obviously. This is also going to be true of StarEngine. You will see dedicated teams working on that gameplay and those specific modules in the future. Waypoints. So in the short term, we should be able to put waypoint markers on the star map or at locations for the ability to more easily navigate there, but also to point out to our groups and friends and people around us where we're going. So this is going to be very useful for location information and marking secrets and planning stuff as well. You're going to be able to collect info, mark locations, and exploit that data eventually. However, you're also going to be able to, in the shorter term, just use it to coordinate your group. The roadmap should be updated for the next 4 quarters, so we will always see around 12 months of development on there. When I was at BoredGamer, I did ask Aaron when would we see the Squadron 42 Episode 1 roadmap that we were promised. He did say that it would appear on that roadmap in the future. He can't give dates for that currently. He also confirmed that Squadron 42 Episode 1 will go out to the EVA Carty once it's ready, so they can really hammer out the bugs before it then goes actually to a live, fully released game at some point in the future. Some other news from Spectrum: they are currently working on how lore and news will appear in the game diegetically. So you're going to be able to consume info via terminals, TVs, books, magazines, the Mobiglass, and on those TVs and panels and stuff as well. Some of that might be pre-recorded stuff, that might be in-game lore stuff that the team has made, but it also might be live news from potentially other players and that sort of stuff. In the much longer term, this content could be entirely generated more dynamically, incorporating players' actions and player-driven content, which I'm very, very excited about. A couple of other things that are more my channel related rather than Star Citizen related. I'm working with other BoredGamer guys. I'm on 2 different channels at the moment. BoredGamer Extra. On there, you'll be able to find a whole host of games and multiplayer stuff that isn't Star Citizen. It's where we put our VODs. It's where all the rest of the team will be putting their content that I basically play with me and my friends, that sort of stuff. Please check that out. The other channel that I'm also working on at the moment is called Overwhelmingly Negative, which will literally be playing and talking about the worst games on Steam and some of the worst reviewed games ever. I will be running some Star Citizen and gaming-based giveaways on those channels too, separately from the main channel, but in a similar fashion, so like monthly subscription-based things, that sort of jazz. If you're interested, if it sounds interesting content, then please find links to that below and consider subscribing. Every month we have a giveaway for Star Citizen. For this April, it's a massive salvage ship, the Aegis Reclaimer, provided by our featured app, MyRadar. MyRadar is a free weather app that also includes full-scale maps of the 3 moons of Crusader, including Yela, Selen, and Daymar. Users can scroll around the interactive maps and zoom in to the landscape to see the geography of those moons. MyRadar is available in the US, Europe, Japan, South Korea, and coming this summer to Australia. It is a real-life weather app as well, so you can see the weather in your general area and in those countries too. It's available on iOS, Android, and Windows. Please check it out in the links below if you are interested. But to be in for a chance of that Reclaimer, make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my videos throughout April. Each video gives you another chance to win. Do you have any questions about Star Citizen, its development, gameplay mechanics, suggestions for videos, whatever? Chuck them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. A special thank you to my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. If you're interested in becoming one of them, please find the links to Patreon as well as everything else was discussed down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me, and I'll see you in the verse.